guys, welcome back to the channel. Today you join me in the 2024 750s Spider, and we're going to be comparing it to the old 2020 720s Spider, its predecessor. The cars are a lot more different than you might think, given the nomenclature of the name and how similar they look, but they really do have some massive driving differences. The highlighted ones in most reviews are the lighter weight, of course, the shorter gearing, which does make this an absolute rocket in first gear, not that the 720 was slow, but there's bigger differences. I think most people know this is about 15% stiffer than the 720s. The tub feels like a different tub. It's insane. I know this is the same platform, same chassis, but when you, even just like backing out of the garage, when you jump out of the 720 into this, you feel like you're getting in a carbon fiber brick. Like nothing moves, nothing flexes. Even just through the wheel, you just feel one solid piece. The mode variability is huge. And if you're in comfort, it rides almost as comfortably as the 720s. If you're in track, it rides like an actual carbon fiber brick going down the track. On track, you don't notice it because your brain just kind of is adjusting to speeds and everything. I don't recall ever thinking it was bouncing or hopping or anything crazy, but on the street in track mode, this car feels nuts. Now, out of everything, the biggest difference between the 720 and the 750 to me is the steering ratio. This, every little input, the car just completely reacts. The 720 has a very slow load up to the rack. This is kind of like a Ferrari, if anybody's driven a 458 or something like that, except it's got a lot of weight and a lot of feedback mid-corner, which the newer Ferraris especially are lacking. But the steering ratio is so much faster than any other McLaren I've driven. I'm curious if this is the direction they're going to go in the future, and when we get the W1, we'll find out, I guess. They did weird things too. Every button is in a different place. The lift, the auto stop start. Obviously, instead of having the old toggles here for powertrain and handling, they're now just up here like they're on the Elva or the Artura. Love cyclists on the weekend, guys. Makes the drives fantastic. Those little things aren't really driving differences. They're just personal preference, and honestly, I don't have a preference other than when I go from one car to the other and I go to press auto stop start and it's launch control. That's a little confusing. Back to the shorter gearing, this car actually gets a much better fuel economy than the 720. I think it's actually rated lower by the EPA, but it is what it is. But the throttle response is significantly better. If we're talking about things I don't like, that was one of them right there. In sport mode, only in sport mode, but for some reason it makes the upshifts and manual really rough. I think they're trying to go for theater and drama, and I've seen a lot of people like that. I don't like that. It just feels like the transmission is not doing the job it should. And I apologize because the roof's up, but this sounds so much better than the 720. I'll put the window down in the back. It's awesome. It also just pops, and the 720 pops every once in a while on downshifts, but this just pops all the time. If you give a little throttle and lift, it's popping. And that's 3,000 RPM. It does it at 2,002, and it does it on the downshifts just like the 720. And you still get all that induction noise and those pops again. Back to something I prefer about the 720, the screen. I never liked the Elva screen, which of course is the Artura screen, and I still don't like this one. This does have more information than the Elva's. For some reason the Elva has no temp gauge, which is utterly ridiculous. This does. It has all the information you want. It's very similar to the 720. Maybe it's pure nostalgia, but I do miss the folding screen from the 720. It's a bit wet, so we're not going to go as crazy as usual, but we're still going to put the handling into track, and we'll take it easy. We're also probably going to catch the Tesla in front of us fairly quickly, but we have some tire time, so it should be okay. This car is like strapping an AK to a scalpel and having the best of both worlds. It doesn't make any sense how much precision this car has and how rural it can be. I think even on video you can see how rough those upshifts are in manual. And the pops. It's borderline ridiculous. This car just does everything so well, but it has that raw, that edge, that special feeling. So it's not like a 911 Turbo or something where you're complaining about it. It's just genuinely hard to wrap your head around how good this car is at everything. Like, there's stuff I want to say bad about it because there is stuff the 720 does better, and we'll talk about that later, but this car is just unbelievable. Other than the rough shifts. Not a huge fan of them. Not sure how much you can hear the turbo flutter and the pops, but it's just a dramatic car. Everything it does has drama. All of the complaints people have from McLarens over the years, this erases. This is very weird. I don't know why this, like, right here, it's brand new repaved in a second, and when you put the car in track here and handling, it just starts hopping. I think you guys will be able to see it actually. It's ridiculous. It's so stiff in track. It is utterly ridiculous. I think you guys can see the front end just absolutely, or hear it in my voice, just how ridiculous this is. The 720, when you put it in track mode, is kind of like this in comfort. This in track mode is, it's like riding a horse. What is it? I don't remember at Lime Rock, it's the only place I've tracked 720 at a few tracks. I don't remember at Lime Rock this car doing that. I don't know, but it's borderline hilarious. Okay, the 720 is meant, I haven't really driven this car this year much. And I think I forgot, this is the greatest thing that has ever existed. It just makes me so angry at McLaren because, oh my, I'm gonna compose myself. They didn't give us a 788 allocation, it is what it is. But oh my God, do I want a 780. Driving this right now just makes me so angry with McLaren because this is the greatest car I've ever driven by a lot. And apparently they made it better with the 788. And I'm never gonna experience that. How do you make this better? Now join me in the 2020 720s Spider, and immediately the car is tamer. Even this car is on semi-slicks right now. It's on Goodyear Supercar 3Rs, but it's much tamer. The car is much softer. It's a little better ride quality-wise, even with the 750s style accumulators on it, 765LT style accumulators on it, whatever you want to call it. The gearing's longer. The car is so much quieter. With the roof on, I don't drive these cars with the roof on a lot, but I will say the 750 is a little more refined with the roof on. But that's about it for the refined going to the 750. The rest, this is a much softer, more dailyable, quieter car. Is that what you want in a supercar? Probably not a lot of the time. It's actually a little ironic because this is my track car. It's on semi-slicks. It'll be going to Lime Rock next week and then Monticello next month. But it is the calmer, tamer, more usable car, I think, between the two. It isn't quite as just ridiculously solid as the 750 because obviously it is a little softer, and I do think there is some technology in the tub in the 750 that they didn't talk about because it's just unbelievable how united that car feels. Not really a 750 thing, but when we got our 750, the carbon fiber was on constraint for the paddles. These paddles are much nicer. I like this wheel better. I like the performance interior better. The color blocking is much better on the 720. Nitpicky things. I like the layout of these buttons better. I like the screen better. Interior wise, I actually do prefer the 720 by quite a bit. The longer gearing makes the boost by gearing feel more effective. When you go second to third, this thing feels like a rocket taking off. The Elva the most, but this a lot more than the 750, where the 750 is just scary immediately. Boom, 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 boom. This is progression, and third is just rocket ship into space. The steering is a lot less hyperactive. It's less fun and less engaging on nice roads like this, but on a highway, this will be much more relaxing. The 750, I remember the last time we took the tracks, the last time I did a long road trip in it, I basically go like this with the steering wheel, and the car is like over 3 lanes, where this is much slower, the steering ratio is much slower. I think I prefer the 750, but again, it's preference. It's honestly, it's just amazing how different these cars are. This drivetrain is also much smoother than the 750. There's less theater to it, is one way to look at it, but to me, it feels more refined. What both cars do poorly, but this does really poorly, is automatic shifting. I happen to drive them in manual most of the time because when you're in automatic at 30 miles an hour, in 6th gear at 1,000 RPM, you're just lugging the crap out of the engine. You start to go up a hill, it goes into 7th at 35 about, and then you're really lugging the car, and you really just need to drive a manual because it doesn't make any sense. You're not doing anything any good. It's just going for maximum fuel economy, which is unnecessary in a car like this, and honestly not even helpful in that kind of situation. Same thing, windows down. There is a bit more boost noise in this car, and honestly I think it's a more naturally sounding engine. I think the 750 has a little extra something in there, and it's definitely mostly exhaust noise. 750 is a prettier sound for sure. It's like 3 times louder as well. I don't know if that comes across on camera, but the induction noises of this are pretty freaking cool. You can't really go wrong with either. It's honestly a personality thing. I know people think the 720 is too quiet. You cannot say that about 750 if you've ever been in one. It's just not true. We have a 718 Spider S, which is one of the best sounding cars I've ever heard, but just from how loud the car is, the 750 is louder. It's not even a good thing necessarily, it's just true. Okay, so handling into track, there's the 720's party trick. You just get the gearing and the speed. So you can put that screen back up in track, of course. The weird thing is if you do that, well, not on track, but anywhere, you don't get temps, which is terrible for actual track driving. This guy's got a trailer, and they give him a little extra room. What the flying... different noise. Definitely more turbo sound. Definitely quieter. It's hard to compare steering feel because the 750 steering is so much faster. I think the 750 does naturally have a little more feedback. This is on semi-slick, so it kind of brings that back and brings them pretty even. But yeah, the 750 I think is definitely the sharper car. It's got a sharper front end. It's more reactive. It's probably the better driver's car. Depends what you're doing with the two cars. The fact that there is such a huge price difference, the 720 becomes very appealing. Also, I forgot to mention it, the car is stiffer in track, but it almost feels, it's still, the chassis itself actually still feels softer than the 750 in comfort. The ride quality, it feels similar to the 750 in comfort. It's crazy the range the 750 has, where it basically just becomes a race car. One of the heroic things about the 720 is that it is an all-in-out hypercar race car, basically, when you want it to be, and then you turn a few switches, you calm it down, and it just becomes a regular car. And that's one of the superpowers I've talked about the C8 Corvette, which actually does it even better than this. The 750 doesn't shut off quite as well as this. It goes even further towards the realm of hypercar race car, but it doesn't shut off quite as well as this. Especially on the highway, it's pretty loud at cruising speeds with the shorter gearing and the car being louder in general. This does shut off better. This would be a better daily driver in my opinion. Although the throttle response might get a little annoying in traffic or the 750 because of the shorter gearing. But overall, this would be the better daily. A nice, non-abused 720 coupe is going for 210 to 220 range, Spider's 240 to 270 range. Unbelievable value. Outside of a C801, there's nothing that could even come close performance to value. You could throw in a 296 for a bit more money, but it is more money, and I'd much rather have this for the driving dynamics, how much lighter it is, all that. And a ZR1's almost 1,000 pounds heavier than these two. 750 is a lot of experience for the money, for sure. But you're still probably going to lose a bit of money on that, where these should be more stable. The 750s have stabilized partially because the MSRP of the 27s is so much higher than the 24s, 25s. They're both good value propositions. One to the next, it's a big jump. Let's say on average, it's almost 100 grand. If at least 100 grand if you're talking just 24 coupe to 18 coupe. It's a big jump. That's up to you. it depends what you're looking for in a car. If it's your only car, 720 I think is a better deal. You'll lose less money. You have more money for maintenance items, stuff like that. If it's your weekend car, and you can afford it, 750. It's so sharp. That's my impression. But in a straight line, this is pretty exciting too. Oh my God, it's crazy that this car is almost 10 years old now. And it's just so fast. The performance for money valuation you're getting here outside of the new generation of Corvette is outrageous. The feel, add all that, practicality, all that, it's unbeatable. 720 has been unbeatable for some time now since they started to depreciate. It's a really tough call between the two. I think I prefer driving the 750, but there are things that are better about this, and that if you're buying one and not both, which we weren't planning on doing either way, if you're buying one, you do have to take that in consideration because of the huge price difference. So if you're gonna be doing long drives, a couple of track days a year, that kind of thing, I think I'd buy a 720. And not just over 750, I mean in general, but for the sake of the conversation. And again, the longer gearing has its benefits. If you guys have any questions about either of the two, anything at all, we've had a lot of experience with these now over the past 7 and a bit years for the 720. They've been really reliable cars, both of them. Basically nothing has gone wrong on either of them. Unbelievable cars to own. But if you have any questions between the two or anything about either, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one.